probably the greatest way that there is to get out and see what is out there. There just is nothing remotely close to it as far as being able to cover the miles that you can cover, to see the diversity of, and cover the diversity of ground that you can cover, and do it with relative ease.
There's no greater place in God's country out here on an early morning ride with the mist out there and the sun just popping over. And you go, wow, I would never be able to see this if I didn't come in here on my ATV, because I couldn't have walked in here quick enough to be able to see that. And you have a few of those experiences and they carry you through a lifetime.
One of the good things about getting involved in this kind of a club is being able to see how not only do we get out and we enjoy our recreation vehicles, but we also help the community. We've done desert cleanup parties, we do trail maintenance, so we put back into our community also.
Being a part of the club on weekend events where everyone's camped together is kind of like a family reunion with all your favorite cousins and uncles and aunts. You all get together and you can hang out and everyone hangs around and has a good time.
We started the club in '87, and I was one of the charter members, the second president of it. And it's neat to see what it's grown to this day. I know it's the largest one on Western Slope. It might even be for the state as far as what we do. Anywhere from around 270 to 300 members.
Formed by a group of diverse outdoor recreationalists, the Western Slope ATV Association has worked in collaboration with federal land managers since the development of some of the first recreational trails in western Colorado, and has been a strong voice for responsible ATV use since its founding in 1987. Some of the first ATV trails developed in western Colorado were on Forest Service lands atop the Grand Mesa. These trails were developed originally for snowmobile riding in the late 1960s, and it wasn't until the mid-1980s that these same trails were used for ATVs.
All of the trails that we are now using for ATV trails started out as snowmobile trails. Here we were riding these trails, and so we said, we've already got the network of trails in. We've got an ATV complex. Why don't we make these trails for the ATV as well? And so, lo and behold, here we had 100, 200, 300 miles of trail in, and why not have dual use? When the travel management regs started to come down the pike, I went to the same folks in the snowmobile club that all of us were riding ATVs, and I said, we have to have a ATV club. That's all there is to it. Because with this travel management coming down, we have to have a strong voice if we're going to try and protect our public land. And so that was how the clubs come about.
When we formed that club, that was the first one in the state. First ATV club in the state. Ever since I've been at the club, has been very active, and we've always seemed to get we got people to come and go, but there's still a lot of people in that club that's been there quite a few years, got a lot of experience. They got a board of directors that's all been pretty open-minded, which you got to have. We just got a lot of good people.
The club didn't waste any time after its founding before it began a long history of trail stewardship on public lands. Some of the first projects the club undertook was working with the Forest Service to help develop the trail complex atop the Uncompahgre Plateau, and working with the Bureau of Land Management on Rabbit Valley in the McInnes Canyons National Conservation Area, as well as the Bangs Canyon Special Recreation Management Area. All of these areas have become some of the most popular ATV riding destinations in western Colorado.
Some of our earlier achievements, first one was Rabbit Valley. We had the BLM come to us and said that we need to do something with it because they was about ready to shut it down. That was the first trail deal that the Western Slope ATVers put together, was it. And then we went to Bangs Canyon. That one at the time had 4 roads going down into that parking lot. A lot of the people would use that as a partying place down there, so they was cutting up our trees and stuff. It was a mess. We put together the first grant for that. It was for $6,000, and that's what we've done a parking lot with. So we've been partners with the BLM and the Forest Service longer than any club I know of in town, yeah.
Since its founding in 1987, the Western Slope ATV Association has worked to promote the safe and responsible use of off-highway vehicles on public lands, and it has grown in both its membership and stewardship activity throughout the years.
I joined the club in the late 90s. When I joined the club, it was pretty active. It was considerably smaller than what it is now. They did some trail work, search and rescue from the very beginning, a little bit as far as parade and public participation. Meetings had about 25 people maybe in attendance at them, where now we run anywhere from 60 to 90 people at a meeting. We started increasing about 10 years ago. We're probably at right around 300 members. One of the unique features with this club is the diversity of our membership. We have members from just about every walk of life that you can imagine, from the legal profession to airline pilots to law enforcement to maintenance workers to truck drivers, just everything you can imagine. We have a group of people that want to show up, enjoy themselves, get a lot done, and accomplish a lot.
More than just an ATV recreational riding club, the association participates in many community activities like the Veterans Day Parade, Parade of Lights, and trail and highway cleanups.
We all have different activities that we enjoy. I mean, sometimes it's just simple getting together for a potluck at the park. You know, it's fun to see the different varieties of food. You know, people sometimes come for the food, sometimes they come for the camaraderie. That's what's so great about our group, is there's so many different spans of activity and so many different things to do that everybody can be involved. I'm really proud to be part of this group. We definitely show respect to the lands, we show respect to our community. Everybody has a different part, and people are involved because they want to be there.
The Western Slope ATV Association promotes OHV use as a legitimate recreational activity through education of the general public, media, and elected officials. Part of this effort includes working with federal land managers to seek cooperative grants for trail signage and maps, while helping to educate the public on trail etiquette and stay the trail values.
A number of the grants we applied for involve educational materials and trail patrol. Our club has a trail patrol where we try to educate people, as well as try to let people know that somebody else is out there on behalf of the Forest Service. We don't try to overstep our bounds as an enforcement capacity, but we try to help the Forest Service or BLM educate the public or the news media or whoever it may be. We've always promoted ourselves as responsible use organization. We try to let people know that responsible use helps keep trails open versus closing them. People need to realize they're not the only one on the trail, and if they want to continue riding that trail, they need to show some respect to other users. So we promote the responsible use and tread lightly ethics tremendously.
While the club stays busy promoting responsible use while out on the trails, they also take an active role working with federal agencies during meetings and planning processes, helping to promote ATV recreation as an accountable and legitimate user group on public lands.
So the thing I really value about Western Slope ATV Club members is that they get involved. You can count on them to show up. When we have a meeting about something important related to recreation, we can count on at least several members to be there. And what they do at those meetings is help us understand how they use their public lands, what they value about them, why trails are important, how they use the public lands, where they like to go. And all of that information taken together with everything else we're thinking about really helps us do a better job of managing the public lands for the public that we serve.
Yeah, I usually represent the ATV club at all of the BLM meetings, a lot of the travel management ones. We have a quarterly meeting, motorized meeting with the BLM. Normally it's a couple hours. The BLM goes over what's on their priority list. And normally we go over what they're doing, what's on their priority list, and what we want to see on their priority list. I think we're a little more informed as to what is going on, and it keeps the BLM informed as to what is important to us.
As one of its main tenants, the Western Slope ATV Association also provides assistance to Mesa County Search and Rescue Control through an all-volunteer ATV team.
The sheriff in each county is mandated to provide search and rescue services for the county. Search and Rescue Control is the overseeing organization that was formed as a volunteer. It's a nonprofit organization, and it provides the volunteer services for Mesa County Sheriff's Department. The ATV Club, part of their auspice for the club itself is to provide search and rescue services to the Mesa County Sheriff's Department. That's done through the club's ATV team for search and rescue. The Sheriff's Department is in charge and legally obligated at all of the searches, but all of the volunteers are strictly volunteers. Everybody provides pretty much all their own gear. ATV team provides their own ATVs. All of the volunteers provide their own time.
And during these nice seasons, and even during some of the not nice seasons, it's pretty common for there to be search and rescues on the public lands in Mesa County. Those folks show up, they work really closely with Mesa County Sheriff's Office. They have their protocols really fine-tuned so that they know what they're doing, they know how to get into places, they have the maps, they're ready to go. And it really is a service that they provide to the community.
Western Colorado is an outdoor enthusiast paradise, and ATV recreation is one of the many ways to get out and explore the diversity of terrain in the Grand Valley. From high mountain vistas to open desert, there's something for everyone.
One of the advantages to around this area is that we ride year-round because we have the desert, we have eastern Utah. We have the mountains as high as almost as you want to go. Everything's a little bit different. Spring and fall, we tend to stay in the lower country or the desert. Summertime, we love to go high up, aspens and spruce trees.
When we started with the club, we thought we knew trails all over this western part of Colorado. And I have been out on these trails since I was a teenager. But however, being a member of the club has really opened my eyes. We've gone into parts of Utah. We've gone into trails in the back part of the mountains I've never been in. There's definitely a different taste to get out there on your ATV and enjoy the mountains.
With outstanding public land access and a variety of trail riding in the area, ATV recreation in western Colorado offers everything from long-distance rides through open canyon country to high alpine trails with outstanding scenery and opportunities to view wildlife. Getting out with friends and family to enjoy their public lands is an important club activity.
What I've heard from a lot of these folks about what they enjoy about trail riding in this area is really the chance to just get out and see the country. They tell me that some of their favorite things to do are to get out, go on picnics, take long distance rides, but also get to overlooks over the rivers, just spend time outdoors with their friends and family, kind of taking in the scenery, seeing wildlife. And in some cases, what I've heard from them is that the riding experience is something they enjoy, But in some ways, it's almost a secondary or corollary benefit to getting out and seeing the country and just being outdoors and having that time to socialize with family and friends.
If you're a little hesitant to do these trails or you don't know that much about the trails, it's a comfort knowing that you have all these people who have experienced this for years and they have the knowledge to help you, and we all have each other's back. Everybody helps to teach the younger generation what's important, staying on the trails, picking up trash, enjoying your machine, maintenance of your machine. We have safety members that teach us safety aspects of things that you may not think about, what kind of straps to use, other dangers that could be out there that you don't think about.
We've taken quite a few people out that have learned, the etiquette of riding your four-wheeler, and you don't go off the trail and mess around and tear up the ground and stuff and things like that. But, yeah, etiquette-wise, most people need to realize that you need to stay on the trail, and if you do see trash, stop and pick it up.
First off, I never go out riding alone. I always make sure I at least got one other person with me. We always stay close enough within each other so we can see each other and make sure we're okay. If the person's in front, you look back and make sure they're still there. Make sure they're still following you. Always wear a helmet, of course. Boots are really important too. Always be prepared for the unexpected, basically.
When I've been out on club rides, one of the things that's really impressed me with this group is that often I've seen another user come along and they always pull to the side, or if someone stopped off to the side, they stop and ask if they have what they need, if they need any help. If a mountain biker or a horseback rider comes down the trail, they're likely to pull off and let them pass. And one of the things I really appreciate is that they sort of teach that on the club rides, both to kids or grandkids they have with them, but also to other, other club members. It really seems like they're trying to bring up the next generation of land stewards just through participation and through having fun, getting out and doing what they enjoy.
It's the best way to see nature. It's the best way to see the outdoors, and it's a lot of fun too. And depending on where you're going, you just got to try it, basically. It speaks for itself.
The Western Slope ATV Association works with public land managers to steward and maintain many of the ATV trails on both Bureau of Land Management and Forest Service lands throughout western Colorado. The club has adopted many trails on public lands and actively participates in trail maintenance and restoration through cooperative grant funding.
The Western Slope Club is a very active ATV group, and they provide volunteer support for the trail program on the district. We can only do so much with the funds that we have to improve trails, and this collaboration between the club and the Forest Service, which started many years ago, has leveraged that. Both the club and the Forest Service apply for these grants. We use those funds to get out on the ground and improve the trails.
We apply for grants every year through the sticker system, the State and Parks Trails Committee, where the stickers, when you buy an off-road sticker on a machine, anything that goes off-road, is $25.25, and about $15 of that, give or take, comes back in to grants to go out to work on a trail system. They go to the Forest Service, the BLM, to clubs all over the state. Then we meet with the BLM and they say, we've got this trail, we've got this thing, we'd like more emphasis here, and we do all that. We have our rides for cleanup, and then we start looking at repair in areas. So we have a meeting in April pretty much with the Forest Service every year and start planning.
I think the number one thing that we think about when we think about our trail maintenance for the coming year has to do with safety on that trail. Is that trail getting to where the average rider can ride that and feel like they're not being threatened by the trail itself? We have trails that are more used than others, and so those trails take a priority as far as trying to keep them up and in good shape. And then probably another consideration would be how hard is that trail? If that trail is a pretty difficult trail, and we have a few that are, not a lot, but a few that are can be rather difficult, then we need to make sure that they are still passable. We have grown a lot in our work parties, and we have taken on a lot of trails. In times past, if we would go out and if we could do on a weekend, if we did a couple of miles of one trail, it was an accomplishment. And now we go out and do miles and miles and miles of several different trails.
Our common focus is to manage and maintain the OHV trails on the Grand Mesa and Uncompahgre. And so, the relationship has grown, and the club, has grown to really help us a whole lot.
In 2013, the Western Slope ATV Association volunteered 4,600 hours on Forest Service land and almost 2,000 hours on Bureau of Land Management land, doing various trail projects, including removing trees and rocks, installing 50-inch restrictors, building bridges, and much more.
One of the biggest differences we've made is rock work on Grand Mesa. As most people know, there's a lot of bogs up there. There's a lot of riparian areas. There's a few trails up there that we're in desperate need of help to keep them open. And instead of adding a few rocks here or there, we add 50 loads of rock to a hole. And some of those areas, or the majority of those areas, we have not had to revisit. We've got involved with bridge work thanks to an engineering person in our membership who's designed a number of bridges for us. We've installed, I believe, 5 different bridges on the Uncompahgre and Grand Mesa National Forest. We designed them, we built them, we installed them. It's been a tremendous help as far as helping the public as well as improving the environment and the creek beds.
Well, the Trails Restrictor came from the National Forest and the BLM on a federal policy put into effect over 10 years ago that really wasn't upheld for a number of years. And that comes from impact on weight on the trails and damage. When you get over 1,500 pounds of weight on a trail, mud, you have big old deep ruts. They tear it all to pieces. They don't go away. Those ruts, and then the water runs through them, and then you have a trench, and then you have a gully, and then you have a mess. So they've come in with a 50-inch rule thinking that that would change the weight and change the damage. And I think it has. We put the fencing in, the H restrictors on the trails, restricts to the 50-inch access, put the wings out and the fencing, keep people out, otherwise they just go around, and you evolve in that process to something that works and looks good and stays there. You don't want to go build something and go back to every year for 4 years and fix it. You want to do it once and be done with it. And sometimes we move a trail out of a wetlands area up around the edges to higher ground. You have to study it and come up with the best place. Sometimes you can't move it, so you go in and harden it out with rock and other things. And that's part of why we work with the Forest Service and the BLM to do all that. It's just a never-ending cleanup, fix, repair, beautification project on the trails.
Having a club the size of the Grand Junction Club with as many active members as they have and as much work as they're able to do is hugely important to the trails program of the state and to the federal land managers, because these folks not only bring the number of people to get things done, but they've got so many people out there that are riding around and checking on conditions. And this part of the state has a large amount of ATV specific trails. Continued public access in today's ever growing shortage of federal budgets depends pretty much on the user groups. They have to police themselves and keep other users on the trail where they're supposed to be, and they end up doing a lot of the trail maintenance that historically would be contracted out.
There's a lot of skill, a lot of time, and we've got guys that was ranchers, farmers all their life, and they're not afraid to use a shovel. You got that quality of people. You just kind of give them an idea of what you want and then get out of their way. We play hard and we work hard, and then once in a while we get to play some more, so That's the way to look at it. Right now the way it's set up, if you get a certain age, we don't expect to come up there and work 8 hours a day. Just come up and enjoy it, and what you can do it, but don't worry about it. We don't gauge a member on what kind of work they do, or if they're capable of working.
I think that the club gets together and works together so that we know that we can keep the trails maintained. If we don't keep them open and keep them maintained, people in the future, they will not have a place to ride or get to go to see the scenery and stuff. And the people that live here, why, they enjoy it now, and so they want to keep it preserved for the people, whoever, as life goes on.
When you're out working on a trail project and you're doing trails, you'll have a few people come up and say, what are you closing this off for? What do you do that? But the other 95% that come up and say, wow, thank you. This is really great. My whole family can go on this ride. This has been a beautiful day. I don't have to worry about tipping over. It's been a beautiful ride. Somebody from Missouri comes out and works with you 2 or 3 days and says, we ride all over our state and there's no trail like this anywhere in our state. There's just a satisfaction in that I can't explain. And that type of legacy on the trail will spread to others, to the younger generation, and hopefully we can instill in them to take care of the trails the way we are so that future people can come in and enjoy them also.
So we got a big road to hoe to keep it open for the future. And you like to see it for a future for your kids coming up. So that's the vision of some of us older guys. We kind of like to, hopefully we can build something for the kids in the future and hope somebody will take hold of what we done and keep it going.
In the summer of 2014, the Western Slope ATV Association participated in what is undoubtedly one of the largest projects ever undertaken by any trail organization in Colorado. A bridge was installed over Leon Creek, located 9 miles south of Vega State Park in the Grand Mesa National Forest, and was built and installed for the safety of high water creek crossings in the spring and heavy ice in the winter for Kenny Creek Trail crossing. As much as the bridge was needed, it took 10 years to obtain the necessary approvals from the U.S. Forest Service due to location, water flows, plant life, and costs for the project. The bridge was professionally built by Big R Bridge and paid for with grant funds from the Colorado Parks and Wildlife OHV grant program, which reinvests off-highway vehicle registration money into on-ground projects just like this one. Starting with a tree-lined, brush-covered stream and ending with an easily approachable 60-foot bridge, the Leon Creek Bridge project took only 5 days to complete through the tireless work of countless volunteers and generous donations of equipment and materials. The project was a blend of ingenuity, expertise, and collaboration from start to finish. The bridge was built off-site and hauled into the location in separate 30-foot sections due to rough, rocky road and multiple creek crossings. Modification to the Kenny Creek Road approach to the bridge site location was necessary to reach the work site. The south side approach to the bridge site and pad area for abutments on each bridge end had to be built up and leveled. This was accomplished by the donated CAT excavator and a Volvo excavator from the Forest Service. Most of the equipment had to be walked in the 9 miles because excavator lowboy trailers could not easily navigate the rough road. The CAT excavator, Volvo excavator, 2 skid loaders, a front end loader, a small trail dozer, a small excavator, a remote control whacker packer, and Forest Service truck and heavy trailer were just some of the many tools and equipment needed to complete the job. Bridge abutments had to be precast and cured months prior to the project start date and then hauled in by multiple loads due to the 24,000 pounds of concrete without any damage to the bridge site. Bridge and abutments were hauled in by the Forest Service. Setting the abutments and leveling took much care and patience so that bridge placement would fit the 2-inch tolerance. Double checking made this one-time bridge placement come out perfect. The Forest Service was essential in assisting the Western Slope ATV Association and the many volunteers throughout the entire process, start to finish.